2015 to 2017 Harley Davidson Fat Boy Low, Fat Boy S. When old Arnie jumped his borrowed Fat Boy into the drainage sluice in Terminator 2 back in '91, he cemented the Fat Boy's place in American pop culture for all time. Harley has stayed true to the original look, and they've continually refined the Fat Boy in the interim to bring us the newest range of models built on the FLSDF platform. We have the traditional-looking Fat Boy as a base model with a blackout Fat Boy Low as sort of a side-grade model. The factory included the Fat Boy in its S-Series program that sees existing bikes souped up with Harley's biggest production engines and decked out with Screamin' Eagle performance parts. Join me while I take a look at the specific upgrades HD sprinkled across the range. Continue reading for my review of the Harley-Davidson Fat Boy Low and Fat Boy S. Fat Boy S. Low and wide have always been the hallmarks of the Fat Boy line, and the newest additions to the family take it down even further. Unladen seat height on the base Fat Boy drops from 27.2 inches to 26.4 inches, while the Low drops from 26.4 inches on down to an even 26 inches between the 15 and 16 models, respectively, though the Low wasn't carried forward to 2017. The S starts out life already slammed down to 26 inches with only 4.7 inches of ground clearance, right on par with the Low. One of the contributing factors that gives the Fat Boy line its distinctive look is the solid rims that adds a visual weight down low. Unfortunately, the solid rims bring with them a significant amount of windage that has an adverse effect on tracking in a crosswind and when passing through the pressure waves generated by the passage of other vehicles. The base model comes with mirror chrome aluminum wheels, but the Low and S sport matte black hubs in polished aluminum rims for a bit of contrast. While the base model carries chrome in all the usual places, the Low dips a toe into blackout country with the headlight can, fork skirt, exhaust headers, oil bag and air cleaner cover all getting the treatment. In keeping with its extreme nature, the S takes it all the way with blackout front fork sliders, engine covers, mufflers and heat shields for a truly sinister-looking ride. For 2017, folks in the northern climates will appreciate the addition of the battery tender harness on the Fat Boy and Fat Boy S as standard equipment. Fat Boy. Mild steel tubing makes up the dual downtube, double cradle frame with a rectangular, stamped and welded backbone. The lines of the frame are laid out to flow from the steering head all the way to the tip of the triangular swing arm in a straight line, just like the rigid frames of old. The result is an old-fashioned look without that old-fashioned feel, hence the Softail moniker. A pair of shocks hidden beneath the transmission handles the suspension and provides 4.4 inches of travel on the base model, and 3.4 inches of travel on the Low and S. The front suspension is consistent across the board with 5.1 inches of travel from 41.3 mm diameter forks, and Harley's beer can shrouds that make them seem a bit fatter than they actually are. Steering geometry also varies slightly between the siblings with the Low and S running 31.6 degrees of rake to drop them down a skosh lower than the even 31 degrees on the base model, but trail remains the same at 5.1 inches long across the board. As you can imagine, the changes in the rear suspension affects cornering performance. The taller base model allows for 27 degrees of lean to the left, and 26.2 degrees to the right. Slamming the rear suspension on the S and the Low reduce those angles down to 25.2 inches and 25.6 inches, respectively. Brakes are likewise the same, and all three models come with a single, 300 mm disc and 4-pot caliper up front, and a 292 mm disc and twin-pot caliper in back. ABS comes as standard equipment on all Fat Boy models. The 17-inch rims come with a fat, 140 mm hoop up front and an even fatter, 200 mm wide hoop in back, both from Dunlop. Harley blessed the Fat Boy and Fat Boy Low with an upgraded engine package this year. While the 15 models came with the air-cooled, twin-cam 103B mill, the 16 models run the high-output version of same. Naturally, these engines show their pedigree in stereotypical Harley fashion with a 45-degree V configuration and external push rods to actuate the two valve heads. The bores measure out at 3.87 inches with a 4.37-inch stroke for a total displacement of 1,689 cc, same as the previous version, but it cranks out 102.5 pounds of grunt at 3 grand while the old motor produced 97.4 pounds. Not a huge improvement, but an improvement all the same. Once again, the S ramps up the pressure a few notches. This slammed, blacked-out cruiser runs HD's Screamin' Eagle air-cooled twin-cam 110B. Harley's biggest engine, the 110B runs a 4-inch bore and 4.37-inch stroke, for an almost square motor with a total displacement of 1,802 cc. Instead of the round air cleaner like the 103B, the 110B breathes through an oval, low-resistance Screamin' Eagle filter with an exposed element for a racy, custom look to go along with the extra performance. It also comes with a removable rain sock for you non-fair weather riders out there. The 110B drives the Fat Boy S well into power cruiser territory with a total of 108 pound-feet of torque at 4 grand, making it the largest and most powerful production HD motor to date. Engine vibration has always been an issue with HD engines, but the factory took steps to address that with the addition of a counterbalancer to offset some of the shaking from all that reciprocating mass and off-balance firing order. Both motors come with an electronic throttle feature that allows for a plug-and-play cruise control accessory, which is nifty and progressive as far as it goes, but it can't yet hold a candle to the rest of the world that is into second and even third-generation ride-by-wire, rider modes and traction control. One hopes the electronic throttle is the first step in that direction, and that Harley catches up on the electronic gadgetry sooner rather than later. All three rides come with Harley's 6-speed cruise drive transmission that allows for cruising at highway speeds at a reasonable RPM so you can get where you are going at a less than frenetic engine tempo. A quiet and low-maintenance, belt and pulley system completes the drivetrain for the Fat Boy line. At the bottom of the range, the base model 2017 Fat Boy comes with a $16,899 MSRP in vivid black, just $200 more than last year. The 2016 low can be had for $17,499, also in vivid black, and the optional colors will set you back another $4, though the Fat Boy low is not in the 2017 lineup. The S model rolls for $20,199 in vivid black and $20,599 for the black denim in a matte finish, an increase of $500 over 2016. It comes with ABS and cruise control as part of the standard equipment package. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, and while there are a number of big, V-twin cruisers available on the market, none of them flatter Harley quite as much as the Boulevard C90 blacked-out Special Suzuki, BOSS, does a more thorough job with the blackout though, adding the lower fork sliders, engine cases, covers, instrument panel and mufflers to the list of blackened parts over and above that on the low. In fact, the overall paint/chrome/blackout scheme looks better on the C90, says I. The bits of chrome interspersed amongst the black parts on the low make it look almost like someone forgot to finish the job, and since the bikes are so similar in shape, the Suzuki comes off looking like the better planned out and more complete product. The downside on the paint, though, is that the C90 comes only in Suzuki's metallic fox orange. While this isn't a bad-looking color, and I admit I like orange to start with, it isn't quite as fetching as Harley's Amber Whiskey, and naturally the King of Paint offers a handful of additional colors to choose from, for a price. Honestly, the suspension on both bikes is rather unremarkable. Neither offer any sort of damping or rebound adjustment, and I gotta say that's a little short-sighted, Given how many bikes now sport a variety of ride adjustments that help keep you dialed into the conditions and passenger, cargo load, never mind how many bikes also offer dynamic, auto-adjusting systems and push-button adjustments that can be made on the fly. In this, Harley and Suzuki could both stand to raise their game just a little bit. Brakes are also a bit of a yawn with little to say about them either, except the Fat Boy at least comes with ABS as standard equipment, while the C90 doesn't even offer it as an available option. Now for the power plants. The 103B in the low measures out at 1,689 cc for a slight size advantage over the 1,462 cc C90 engine. Both run in a V-twin configuration, Harley in its typical 45-degree layout, and Suzuki with a slightly wider, 54-degree V. There are no shortage of 60-plus degree V-twins out there, but the geometry just doesn't look right to someone used to Harley engines, and it affects the overall look of the bike. Suzuki gets credit for closing the angle just a little bit for a more natural-looking engine to Western eyes,